Alright, today I'm excited. Finally got the seat bracket in for the seat that I bought, but I haven't showed it all. I picked up an OMP WRC-R to put into Miata. Eventually I'll get a seat for the passenger side. But I finally got my adjustable PCI seat bracket in today. I had originally tried to buy the one-piece one for the Sparco Sprint because I found that the seat widths were the same, but on that bracket, apparently the mounting holes for the Sprint don't come up high enough, and I couldn't get the seat to mount in them without bottoming out too far. So these brackets you need. Hey, sit down, puppy. Relax, relax. Hi, thank you. Okay, back up, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Thank you. So here's the bracket. It's adjustable, so it comes in 3 different pieces. There's the lower base and then 2 sides, and it comes with hardware to mount these sides. It also has some nylon 1/4-inch thick washers and a seatbelt mount. So I've already test fit the sides to the seat and then compared it to the bracket and found out I need to have it sit this way with the flanges in. For narrower seats you can also flip it around so that the flange is outward, and that kind of lets you get to a narrower seat. There's these slotted holes on the bracket and on the sides here, so you can adjust in and out and left and right. So what I'm going to do is get these onto the bracket. I've already got this one side kind of loose. I'm going to get this other side onto the bracket. When I have those loose on the bracket, I've got some test hardware for the seat. I need to actually get real hardware, but I can bolt the seat up to it, see what width it's at. Then I'll probably go out to the car, pull out the factory seat, set this in, see where I want the seat to be laterally, or not laterally, longitudinally, and then we'll actually bolt everything down tight. It has torque specs on the manual that comes with the seat, and being that this is a seat and safety kind of stuff, I'd definitely follow that. But for now I'm just going to get this kind of set up, loosely bolt the seat in just to see how it works. Now these here have, for the seat, there's obviously a nut, a washer, there's, come on, get off there. There's this little solid piece, and then another piece with a well-done nut and a little tab. So I'm putting these with the bolt head on the top so that it gives me a little bit more room for the seat, versus if I had the nut and the bolt and everything coming through, it would have a little bit more height. Also this way I can get it onto the bracket, get the seat on there, and be able to tighten this all down with the seat actually mounted to the sides. Whereas if it came the other way, you have to bolt these down, at least on the narrow seats with the track inside. You'd have to tighten these down before getting the seat on, because there's no way to access them really with the seat on there. Now that that's loose on there, I'll get the seat, mount the seat to this. Once the seat's bolted in, then it'll kind of hold the width on this. It'll still a little bit of adjustment left and right and forward and back, but that's going to be things that will be tweaked once it's sitting in the car and test fitting there. And then once I'm happy with that, then I'll tighten everything down. it's bolted on. Obviously the seat can still move around, but that allows me to lock it in the side brackets, and then once I test fit it, I can lock down where I actually want to sit at. To start in the car, I'm going to go ahead and take the factory seat out. It's going to be 4 bolts, 2 at the front, 2 at the rear. I'll pull that out. I'll have to take the OMP seat off of the bracket just to test fit. I believe I've got to hammer out a little bit of the trans tunnel just to get it clear. But we'll start by pulling this seat out, and then we'll start clearing some things and see how it fits. Okay, so I pulled the new seat off the bracket and have that just loose. And I'm trying to test fit it here, and you can see that it's close in the front, close in the back, but this corner here is not able to get there. So right in this spot here, I'm gonna have to hammer the trans tunnel back to get the mount to go in. And that's just with this mount, that's what you do. Everyone does it, runs fine. So we'll just have to clearance that a bit, and I'll keep clearancing and then recheck in the spot. Alright, so that actually lines up now. It goes in. I'll be able to tighten it. Now I'm going to pull this out. I'll put the seat back on. As you can see, I actually flip these front bolts around. There's enough room under the front of the seat to get it. So I will flip put the seat back on, line this up. I might bolt in like the front too, just to kind of get this kind of set. But then I'll sit in it, get what I feel is comfortable, and then tighten the front 2 bolts to get it to line up. I'll pull it out, finish tightening the other bolts, and they'll be good to put in. I am going to have to figure out the seatbelt mount. It did come with a bracket, but I've yet to figure out how that actually works on here. So I've got the seat in. I'm going to put these front bolts in for the seat mount. Alright, the front mounts, or the front bolts for the mount are in. When I actually go to finally finish and install this, I'm going to have the seat out, bolt the bracket in, and then bolt the seat to the base here on the sides. But I'm mounting that hard so that I can get in the car and kind of wiggle the seat around with how the bolts are loose now, and get it right where I want it, and then bolt or tighten down those the nuts that are holding the side, the adjustable sides up. So I'll go ahead and get in and shift it out. Went ahead and tightened up all the base here. I torqued all four of these to spec, which is 15 to 20 foot-pounds. And I'll go ahead and set this in here, bolt the base in, and then we can work on getting the seat in. I do have to look at something for the seat belt. I'm not going to run harnesses quite yet, and even then I won't run harnesses on the street. So I need to figure out something for this side for the seat belt bracket. But I'm going to get this kind of bolted in loose and then take a look at that and figure that out. And this front one here, the bracket for the seat is in the way, so I'm going to have to run this one in with a wrench. Okay, so the camera and the lights battery kind of died last night, so I kind of went on a little bit further. The seat bracket, I think I showed when I first kind of put the base together. It came with a seat belt attachment bracket thing. I think technically it's supposed to bolt to this and then kind of go up and over, but looking at it, I just could not get it to work right. So one of the bolts there had a large backing washer kind of thing that was more like a backing plate. I actually pulled the rear O2 sensor through the grommet that I had there. There's a pretty large opening there, so I've got the backing plate on the underside of the car. It's actually in the trans tunnel. That's back in behind here, and then the bolts coming through, and then the brackets mounted to that, and then the seat belt. I'm using the original seat belt bolt with a good nut, and it's got that on here. So this is hard mounted to the trans tunnel now, and then I went and re-bolted the bracket back in, laid the carpet back down because I had to peel that up to look at everything. So now I'm ready to go ahead and put the seat in. The seat belt here I don't have bolted in right now. I'm actually going to run this through one of the harness hooks, or the harness holes on the seat, because when I was kind of test fitting it yesterday, I realized that this here is kind of lining up right with that hole, and if I try to go up and around the seat, it drags, and this doesn't kind of unwind as easily. So if I put it through the hole, it should allow it to unwind pretty easy, and then I'll mount it at the same spot here, so it'll just be coming through the seat, and it's kind of right at the right point on my shoulder to do that anyway. So I'll go ahead and get the seat in, put the seat belt on, and then it'll be all set. Putting the seat in would be a lot easier if I had the hardtop off, but I can still get the fit in. I still can. Seatbelt retractor, and you can see it's not really anywhere near coming over the shoulder, but it does line up pretty well right here. So I'm going to come out around with it over the seat and then back down in there. I haven't tightened up these bolts because, like I said before, I need to go get actually good hardware. I've got these Torx head bolts, which should be good, but I don't know what grade they actually are. And on the other side, I can't get a Torx in between the trans tunnel and them, so I've just got these kind of finger tight, still a little loose, just to get it in there. Just it's in there enough that I can sit in it, but I'm not going to drive it with this until I get new bolts. I still have to tighten this bottom bolt here, but right now I'm going to test it and see if this works, or if I should have the seatbelt go over instead of through this pass-through. But this is how it fits. It's going to be a little tight on the door. Eventually I'm going to get some thinner door panels, but right now I just got to make sure that I close the door hard, because it does touch. But the clearance to the roll bar is pretty close. I would have liked to have gotten the seat a little bit lower, so I can sit lower in the car, but the way the alignment holes are, the rear can't go any lower. The seat just physically hits the bottom. The front I could go lower, but I wanted to have a little bit of an angle back sitting in it. So with this is as good as it's going to be.